Welcome back to Millville, New Jersey for the final round of the MotoAmerica Championship for 2016. It is the Yamaha Superbike Challenge of New Jersey, and we're getting for the final KTM RC Cup race of the season. KTM RC Cup, if you're new to it, is a spec series running KTM RC 390, the same you can buy at the dealership. So they basically get an entire field of racers out on these motorcycles, and it showcases some fantastic talent in the KTM RC Cup. A good look at the activity going on in the pits at the moment. Let's take a look at race one highlights that happened yesterday. Jason, the KTM RC Cup, always close action.
It's always great because when you watch these bikes during the day here, one of them comes by, you can barely hear it. So when you get a pack of them, it sounds like a little swarm of bees. But all these guys, you see Mazziato and Brandon Pash, those have been the two all year long, along with Ashton Yates, that have kind of been the guys in this race for the championship as the year's gone. We saw a couple little accidents. One of our wild card riders came in just a little bit hot in turn one, got underneath a couple people, tucked the front. That was a bummer for him. So we'll be back in this race too.
That thing's burnt.
We look at Mazziato here. He was kind of the guy. Again, he's trying to bridge that gap, but they come to the line. Pash and Jody Berry came to the line together. Mazziato had a couple little problems and he ended up 7th, so it was enough to give Brandon the championship for the year. He's kind of the guy that all year long, Greg, we've just been watching him. He's been piling on points. And then he decided to do a little Facebook Live on his cool-off lap as he came around on his cool-off lap. No gloves, but he's just doing his Facebook Live. It's all about social media.
Brandon Pash, local rider, had it all planned out in turn 3, took his gloves off, got his phone as someone was already Facebook Live for him, and he did all. Let's take a look at the results from race number 1, as there was a fierce championship battle between Brandon Pash and Anthony Mazziato, who live about an hour and 15 minutes away from each other, have been racing each other since they were young kids. So Pash gets the victory by 0.036 seconds over Jody Berry and Ben Smith, 0.8 seconds. And this is very typical what we see in the KTM RC Cup race. There has been a checkout from time to time, but very rarely.
And great for Benjamin Smith getting his first podium. I know that's a big deal. When you're a young kid and you're trying to get started, I only wish I could have started this young, as I'm sure you do, and a lot of us could have had a series like this to get started in. The KTM 390 Cup has been great, with Chris Fillmore being the ambassador for the series. He shows up at every race. He's got a great rapport with all these kids. It's great what KTM has done. So, you know, in all the racing, every one of these kids has somebody to race with. You know, you notice all these little packs, you know, even from 10th to 13th there, and then you got a pack from 15th to 18th. Everybody's got someone to race with, and every lap you do is experience. And these are the kids of our future that we're going to see on 600s in not too long.
That's a live look at the fans here at this race. Here's a look at the championship standings for the KTM RC Cup, and you can see that Brandon Pash has already wrapped the championship. However, Jason, it's those top 3 riders that really get a big prize. So it's not just the #1 plate here in the U.S., but they get something else.
Can you imagine getting to go race in Assen? I mean, they're going to. These 3 guys are going to get to go to Assen, Holland, and go check out.
And Pash is 15 years old.
It's great. I mean, the Cathedral of Speed is what they call it over there, and that place is amazing. And they run it in conjunction with the BSB race, but it's going to be the KTM RC 390 Cup World Finals. So they're going to bring kids in from all over the world who have finished top 3 in their respective series. So we've got 3 really fast kids representing us this year. It's going to be great.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be watching that online, no doubt about it. You might be in Holland to check that out.
Quite possibly, yeah. I'm going to know here pretty soon, but you know, I'm looking forward to maybe getting a chance to go over.
So KTM RC Cup race number 2 is on the way here from Millville, New Jersey. We have more pre-race coming up, so don't go anywhere.
All right, thanks, guys. One more quick segment. This is a quick welcome. Go ahead.
Welcome back to New Jersey Motorsports Park as we await the start of the KTM RC Cup. One thing that's really awesome about this last race of the year is KTM has invited 4 riders. They're guest riders, and they come from 4 different disciplines, and we have more about that.
Go ahead.
I mostly do flat track, Supermoto. I'm more into the AMA Supermoto series right now. We have one left down in Tucson, Arizona. and next year I'm going to be starting my pro career down in, well, we'll miss Daytona of the first series, but we'll hit all the races after that and see how it goes. Putting knee down and all the GP shifting, I was lucky to have a call from Wayne Rainey, and he told me that he would give me a bike to come out here and ride, and I was pretty stoked on that.
Yeah, it's cool being a motocross racer with the KTM Orange Brigade amateur program, and then to be with a manufacturer like that in a company to give me opportunities to come to different disciplines and sports like this is awesome. So it's definitely not motocross. It's a lot different. Traction's way different. So I like new challenges though. So that's why I'm here, and we're having a good time. And it's a fun event because it's, you know, one-off deal, so there's no pressure. Everybody's already in their championship. I'm just kind of out there in the mix. So hopefully we can pick up the pace and go dice it out there with the boys. Well, I definitely think that I think motocross is more physical. But this is a whole nother aspect. This is all mental, like all concentration, because it's so specific and everything. And so yeah, that's probably the biggest thing, because I've only had 2 days on the bike before I came here, and to have everything come at you so fast and have to learn all the form really quick, I'm still kind of thinking about it. So that's probably the hardest part. Is it's not motocross. You know, it's complete opposite. So it's doing everything obviously I would on a motocross bike. So that's probably like the biggest challenge, and I'm always having to still think about it. So a lot of stuff is coming at me real quick, but I like the challenge.
Yeah, no, it's been good fun so far. I've been enjoying myself on the RC Cup bike. I've only rode it a couple of times back home before I come over here, but no, it's been a lot of fun, and yeah, it's good. Yeah, that's it. Early in the year I came over and I raced in the Amateur Nationals at the Coin, and yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, and yeah, I did pretty well, so that was good.
Well, I raced KTM 390s in South Africa, and I've raced them for about a year now, and it's quite a big opportunity to come over here, and my mom lives here. It's quite, so she organised this whole thing through KTM, and I just decided to come here because it's a big opportunity.
All right, so there's a look at the 4 guest riders that we have racing in the field today.
Standby break.
We're going to take a break. On the other side, I'm going to hand this thing over to Jonathan Green, who's going to take you from the word go to the checkered flag here for the KTM RC Cup race. So stay with us. It's great race action.
2, 1, 5. How long is this break there, Rick? 2:15? 2 minutes. Well done. Be back at 1:45. Hey, Jonathan's dead. Alright, so you can welcome us back and do a little chit chat, and we can get down to Christy on the grid, and we'll talk to some riders, but still a little bit of time. Okay? So Christy, go ahead and set up with our pole man. We'll talk to the 516 first. We're going to do a little grid walkthrough until some time, because this race doesn't start. It starts in 10 minutes. Yes, it's pretty great. So Jonathan, welcome us back, set it all up, and when you're ready, we'll throw it down to Christy with our pole man. 1 minute back. What's that, Christy? No, you know what? Let's talk to Posh first. Let's talk to him. Then forward we have time. So Jonathan, scratch that. Christy's going to talk to our new champion, Posh. Back. 1 second. There's a little animation out of the commercial. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Welcome back to beIN Sports coverage of MotoAmerica. And coming up next, it is the KTM Cup, the final round of the KTM Cup. Jonathan Green here, bringing you the action. Chris Fillmore on the grid at the moment. He'll be joining me in the booth. But as you can see, a little bit of a breeze. It's a little bit cooler than it was yesterday. But the big news, and everybody, especially him himself, are relaxing because we have our new national champion in KTM. He is, of course, from New Jersey. His name, and let's remember it, is Brandon Pash. He's a star. He's with Christy.
Thanks, Jonathan. The national champion now of the KTM RC Cup. Brandon, you gotta be feeling good going into race number 2. How's your day been?
It's been a pretty good day. A lot of autographs and just hanging out, skip warm-up, getting ready for the race, and
lose a graphic.
Just gonna try and make it 2 this weekend and just go for it.
Congratulations. There's your champion right there for KTM RC Cup, Brandon Pash. Johnny?
Thanks, Christy. Yeah, he's a cool customer, isn't he? I've spent quite a lot of time with him this weekend. He's very unfazed by all the attention that he's getting. He really was born for this. There's no question about it. And he and Mazziato have gone head-to-head throughout the season, both, of course, growing up here in New Jersey, about an hour apart from each other. They're actually good pals. They've raced in every form of motorsport, including this KTM Cup. And one of them had to win, but they've also got another bite because they're going with the World Final. And they will be competing against the rest of the world along with third place, Ashton Yates. So Anthony Mazziato finished 7th yesterday. A little bit of disappointment, but he's on the pole, and he's with our Christy.
Anthony, difficult race yesterday. You've got another chance today with race number 2, sitting on pole. Tell us about it.
Yeah, yesterday, you know, I was sitting back watching everyone, just seeing where I could make some passes, and I had a little bit of a mistake in turn 1 and kind of put myself up over the bars, and I ran off and almost hit the wall in 2, but came back up onto the track and rode my butt off to see if I can make up some time, but they were too far ahead. So, yeah, today definitely looking forward to a better race. You know, last race this season, I'm just going to go out there and have some fun and ride with my buddies.
That's your pole sitter looking for better results today, Anthony Mazziato. Jonathan?
Thanks, Kirsty. Yeah, he says he's riding with his buddies, and that has been the undernote, really, of this whole series, is that they are good buddies, and it's rare in motorcycle racing. It's rare in any form of sport that you get this camaraderie between these riders. It's amazing. And I think you'll see also the best of Anthony Mazziato III in this race, because he's got nothing to lose. He wants to go out on a high. His friends and family are here. But don't count out this man. He's going for the double. He told me last night, you know what? Now I can relax. Now I can ride my hardest. And I think you just saw how cool, calm, and collected he is. But don't count out Ashton Yates on the 120 machine. So, of course, former American champion, Aaron Yates. He'll be in the mix for sure. We're about to go racing at a breezy New Jersey here on BN Sports. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back with all the action.
All right, this is literally a 30-second commercial break. We'll come right back, and then Jonathan, as soon as Chris gets up there, we'll give you a little bit of a rest. So stand by. Keep me honest on the count here. 20 seconds back. 15. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stand by. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Welcome back to our coverage of the KTM Cup here on BN Sports. As you can see, the umbrellas being bustled around in the trees in the background tell you it's a big breeze. I don't want to make too much of that because it's still hot, as it's been all weekend long. But these are the smallest, both riders and bikes out there, and the breeze will make a difference, especially as they try to tow each other around this circuit, which is a huge part of these KTM Cup races. So look out for that. Look out for the drafting, because it makes a big difference. You'll see group racing, and you'll see them trying to drag each other along. I mentioned some of them, and Christy's spoken to most, but we've don't want to leave out Jody Barry, desperate for a win, having been beaten to the line right at the last moment by Brandon Pash yesterday. Also Benjamin Smith, he too was on the podium. He too is going to look for finish of his last race of the season on a high. But the man I'm looking at mostly, he is full of it, is Jackson Blackman. Starts in the middle of the second row. There is your front row. Mazziato, Pash the champion, and Jody Barry. Benjamin Smith on the podium last time out. Blackman was 5th yesterday. He wants more. Ashton Yates, likewise, is looking for another victory. Dominic Doyle, the new boy from South Africa. Alongside him, Corey Ventura and Mbaski. Then it's Lapkin, Standish, Beauchamp, Renzo Ferreira, Josh Sine of California, John Knowles, Shane Fell, Asani, and Chamnes right alongside. A little further back, the only female in the group, Valentine Welsh, in 20th position. Gerard Brook, you heard from him earlier, from Australia. And you know what? I like to hear a young man talking about someone like Bayliss, because as we all know, Troy Bayliss, a winner in MotoGP, a world champion in World Superbikes. He started out on the dirt, and he is the man who recommended Gerard to come here this weekend. So this is where it all begins. This is where the next champions are found. And MotoAmerica are bringing it to you live here as we take our second year of KTM RC Cup. I'm delighted to be joined in the booth by Chris Fillmore, who's been on the grid and literally giving a last-minute, I'm sure, bit of advice. I was mentioning the breeze, Chris. Do you think it'll affect these riders because it's much stronger than yesterday?
Well, it is a headwind. I just noticed that as I ran up into the booth. I know a couple riders. I talked to them, like, for example, Ashton Yates. He ended up changing his gear and he ended up dropping a tooth because he said he was hitting the rev limiter yesterday going down this front straight. So, well, I guess we'll just see once the once the green flag goes. We'll see if that's going to work out for him. But you know, you don't really know. These guys all did good yesterday, and I think they're in it to win it. And the championship's already been decided, so it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, you took a dropping teeth. A couple of Jake Fell also said he changed his gear, and there's a few guys just sort of making a few decisions, having looked at yesterday's race. You know what? I should be perhaps in fourth gear, not third there, or whichever way round it is. And so a few changes to their setter for today. They had a warm-up this morning. Interestingly enough, the new champion, Brandon Pash, chose not to take part in the warm-up, and I thought that was an interesting decision. I don't know how to judge it, but he didn't seem phased. What's your thoughts? You're a rider.
Absolutely. Well, if he wasn't 15 years old, I maybe thought he might have celebrated too hard, but
no, I was there. He wasn't.
No, yeah, he told me he had 3 pieces of pie, so he was feeling a little fat this
that
morning,
I can confirm.
a little bellyache. But besides that, I went and talked to him, and because I didn't know either, and he just said, Chris, I'm playing head games. So all right, guess that's what he's doing.
Fair enough. Well, he did have a piece of pie, but I tell you what, I've watched his nutrition, and it is brilliant. Absolutely. In fact, he's got MedAge as a sponsor, so there you go. He's living the dream and living it right. But can Mazziato beat him? He starts in pole on the right-hand side of the screen. Oh, out go the lights, and away we go. Good start again by the poleman Mazziato, and once again, like yesterday, Brandon Pash slots in behind him. He looks over his shoulder does Mazziato as they dive towards the first turn, all spreading out behind the New Jersey boy. As Mazziato leads them through from pole. Nice start. Everybody cleanly through the first couple of turns, and just what he needed. But already the 618 of Jackson Blackman, who is absolutely fired up. Jackson Blackman yet to win a race, and if he's leading at this stage, I'm gonna say that I said it earlier that I reckon he's gonna be so motivated to go winning here, because he hasn't had a win. Got new letters this weekend. He's been bouncing off the walls, and of course it's his teammate who won the championship. They actually spent 3 weeks together leading up to this race, and there's a new confidence with Action Jackson, as we like to call him. Yeah. But he's a great kid.
For sure, he's an awesome guy. He's been in the shadows a little bit of a brand.
Yeah.
That's been bothering him, weighing on him a little bit. So the only way to prove that and to change that is to turn the cards and win these races. And it looks like he's got a good start. He's got his head down, and he's looking pretty good.
Yeah, and he looked over his shoulder there, because I think the first lap isn't the lap to try to make him break, because they're only going to catch him up if he tries to break early. And I think it's fine leading. And I don't know, I'll ask you, Chris. What would you do? Would you try to stay in third, fourth, and just stick with the group, or would you try to lead?
I would try to lead. If I was any of these guys, I'd try to get out front. That's where the least amount of problems are going to be. You're out front, it's a clean track, you get to ride your own race. It usually never happens that way, but wow, lots of weaving going on.
Best made plans of mice and men, as they say. They crossed the line, but it is Anthony Mazziato putting it back into the lead. A 140.6. Blackman crosses the line behind him. Jody Barry's in the mix. He's third. Brandon Pash, our champion, he's in fourth place right now. Ashton Yates is behind him, and the new boy, Dominic Doyle, who had a good run yesterday, is also up in the mix in the lead group. He's in sixth place. Benjamin Smith, the podium man last time out, is in seventh. Then Ferreira, Umbarski, and Ventura rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, and just kind of, you notice in turn one, he got past. Anthony ended up taking the lead down the front straight, and then Jackson passed him back, and it looks like Jody Barry was able to go with him. So that's first, second, Mazziato third, and Ashton Yates in fourth there.
And the advantage for Blackman, he's a tiny, tiny kid. I mean, he's not, you know, I wouldn't know what his weight is, but it's got to be an advantage if you can stay tight into the bike and use that weight advantage, especially against somebody like a Jody Barry, who is a lot bigger than he is. I mean, of course, these are smaller bikes. I was talking to him about his future, and he sees that. He's not looking to try to be a big superbike rider. He knows it's something like Moto3. He's done some Marawaki as well. You know, he's done smaller bikes, and he likes smaller bikes.
Oh, big hiccup there by Jody Barry. Looked like he maybe tucked the front a little bit going through that corner. Looked like he was entering, coming out of turn 9.
So Jody Barry, a rare mistake by him, and he is just as determined as anybody to win this final race. And there's no class where you have to be remembered by your last race, but this is particularly that way because the KTM Cup may not get the headlines that the big Superbike boys get or the Super Sport boys get. So they need to show what they can do. Look at them all spreading out now as Ashton Yates joins the fray. And still a group of what, some 8 riders at the front.
Yeah, it looks like be about that. You know, at the first lap, it looked like there was going to be a little bit of a breakaway, and then sure enough, you know, these guys, they keep on passing each other like this. They slow down, can't do the lap times that they did in qualifying, and the guys that are right behind them, they end up reeling them in, and that's exactly what happened.
Ashton Yates is now leading this race on the number 120, and he was telling me this morning that during the warm-up, they changed the gearing, and that is why he is going as well. So he was very confident. Here's that moment with Jody Barry, and you're right. Yeah, that was, he stayed on the full 8 seconds.
Yeah, that was a big one. He got his butt out of the seat a little bit, puckered him up. So
a little bit of rodeo.
He's a big guy. He can hang onto the bike, no problem. He did just that.
How hard are these bikes to ride? It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, and it doesn't matter the experience. I mean, they aren't quite lightweight bikes, and I wonder, sometimes when it's a lighter bike, it's so much trickier.
Yeah, for sure. For somebody like me, for example, who's only been on bigger bikes, you know, I've ridden 600s, I've ridden Superbikes, like most recently Superbikes, and then I hop on one. And it's kind of a class of its own. You know, you have to kind of figure out how to carry the momentum. This class is all about carrying speed and momentum, taking the best possible line, not to scrub street, not to brake too much. It's really a great teaching tool, these bikes.
Up to 6th gear now, and Jody Barry pops out of the bubble, but so too the 618 Blackman. Look at this! 4-way battle for the lead.
It's looking really good.
And Pash has joined the game. On the inside, Pash slots into 4th place. Blackman's still there. Barry's still there.
Let's see, Anthony Mazziato.
And Mazziato's gone back into the lead.
And the fastest lap of the race as well with a 136.8.
Yeah, you've got to feel that Maz really wants this. He's had a tumultuous weekend, is the only way I can describe it. He decided whether it was right or wrong to jump on a 600, got in trouble with that, and then qualified well, was fast, but all, in my mind, distractions when you're trying to win a championship. And so he's got nothing left to prove this weekend except to go out as a winner, and I know that he's in determined mood. I spoke to him this morning, and he was still pretty chirpy. He wasn't too down and disconsolate. He blamed himself. It wasn't a crash. He just made a mistake. And so it's good that he's matured enough to pick himself up and not down in the dumps. And I think, just like the other two, Ashton Yates and Brandon Pash, in Anthony Mazziato, we do have a guy for the future.
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. You know, he was coming in with a pretty big deficit to Brandon in points. To be 19 points down in only 2 races, yes, absolutely it's feasible, but it would have taken some type of mistake or for Brandon just to not ride like his normal self. And yesterday he was able to execute. He did exactly what he needed to do, went out and clinched the championship by winning the race. Very class act. But Anthony had to make a decision if he wanted to race a 600. He wanted to see how he stacked. He wanted to get a little bit prepared for next year, because next year we're going to see him jump on to the 600. And I think he made a good decision in the end.
You know, what I love about this kind of racing, when you've got group racing like this, is patience. I would be a terrible KTM rider. I have no patience. I'd want to win, and I'd want to be at the front, and I'd be like looking over my shoulder. I'd be excited all through the race, and then I'd be exhausted by the end of it. These guys have got to pace themselves. They've got to think about where they are, and they've got to literally, like the wick, at just the right time and explode over line.
I would have a hard time with the patience right now, just even watching here. I'm kind of on my toes. You know, you got 8 guys that could win this thing. You know, there's only a second between the top 8 right now. As we see Benjamin Smith fastest lap of the race, and he's moved himself up to the front of the pack. So
yeah, and it's interesting. Pash has just gone to the lead. Smith just put the fastest lap, and that's my point: is that everybody is in there, and everyone has a chance.
Yeah, we have a hard time keeping up in the booth right now. You know, those guys are passing multiple times a lap. It's some of the best racing out here this weekend.
Still a group of top 8 now, and it looks as though it's going to be between those 8 with 5 of the 13 gone. You're watching the KTM RC Cup last round here in New Jersey on beIN Sports, and at the moment it's the champion Brandon Pash of New Jersey leading the way. And on the back of his leathers, you can't quite see it, but there's a little patch, and he's had a different one for every race. This one has the picture of himself and Ashton Yates and Anthony Mazziato, and it says, us 3 against the world, because of course that is the case. After this race, they will head to Holland in a few weeks' time to represent MotoAmerica and KTM. Now we're starting to see the tactics as Jody Barry says, hey mate, get behind me. And he says that to Pash. And they're trying now to drag this thing forward. And I often wonder how much sort of thought process goes into this. I mean, you're racing, you want to beat everybody. Why would you work like this?
Well, you know, that was interesting if I just back up a little bit. Jody Barry, Brandon led that thing out into the front straight. Yesterday, if you were able to watch the race, Jody Barry ended up leading in on the front straight. Brandon passed him in the corner. But in that last scenario, Jody was able to draft by him to the finish line. Yesterday, he wasn't able to make that happen. So maybe he's trying to kind of figure it out. You know, where do I need to be on that last lap to make that pass for the win? If I'm sitting in second, do I want to lead it? Yesterday, leading it out didn't work. Today, he was in second. He was able to make that pass before the start-finish. So I think he's trying to figure out a little bit of strategy for the end of it.
Well, I spoke to Brandon last night, and I said, did you line that up? And he said, yeah. He said, I did it the lap before. He said, the pass for the win, I lined up Jody the lap before, tried it, and it worked, and just did it again. And Jody will be all too aware of that. And the reason I asked the question is because we all watch the Tour de France, we all watch the Olympics, and you know they do have teams of cyclists drafting, and they do work together to pull the peloton forward. But in this racing, it's every man for himself. Sure, you have a teammate, but you're racing for points, individual points. So, like I said, I'm always intrigued to see how Jody and a few of the others work together. It's in practice, practice and qualifying, I totally get it. But in the race, wow.
Yeah, I mean,
here we go. Exactly what you just said. Look.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's shaking his head. Must be listening to us or something.
He's listening.
But it seems to be working. I mean, I don't know that necessarily that they want to follow each other, or if Jody is actually, Brandon's listening to Jody and says, yeah, okay, I'll follow you. It doesn't look that way as he takes the lead, but they're pulling a little gap on the rest of the guys, so it seems to be working quite well.
Well, that would make things interesting because this is one of the biggest gaps I've seen in a fair few races, because third place man, that's Benjamin Smith, he was third last time out, is drifting off the back of the gap just over a second, 0.069, and that's not a lot, but it is in this racing.
Yeah, it is for sure. You know, all it takes is that little bit of a draft. Break that draft, and these guys are getting away, and it looks like that's what's happening. You know, Pash looks really good right now to me. He looks comfortable. He's leading all the technical sections of this racetrack. And Jody's able to reel him back in on the straightaway because he's still right there and can smell the draft. But let's see the next couple laps. We might have a breakaway again.
Yep, confirmation then. 0.05, 1.05, 1 second just over. And if they can extend on that, which I think by the way I'm looking at it, they will do at the end of this lap. Benjamin Smith pushing hard, Mazziato's just behind him. Blackman's dropped off a little bit. He did that in the first race, and he was explaining last night that he can't afford to do that. And he knows he's got to get the giddy up, so to speak, if he's going to stay in that hunt for third place. Because as you can see now for yourself, that gap is extending, and these two are working brilliantly together. Now another signal. They cross the line, and let's see what the gap is.
1.5 seconds.
It's extended, yep.
They've done it. They broke the draft. So if these guys cannot, play too many cat and mouse games right now, they could pull away, and we could see a battle for the lead just between these two right now.
And I think that was the plan. I really do. I think that maybe beforehand, Jody said, hey, listen, I know we're not teammates, but we know each other well, and let's see if we can break the group, because if we can do that, then we can fight with each other, because it's when you're in a group of 6, you really don't know what's going to happen. We've seen it at places like Miller and Barber, where all hell breaks loose because no one really knows who's doing what. Now, we have a situation with Barry and Pash where they can literally work together. I don't think Pash is going to give Jody the race, but it means it's a fair fight between the pair of them, and they know each other's style all too well.
Yeah, and I just see Ashton Yates, he moved his way up into third, passing Benjamin Smith, so, you know, Ashton's going to be hungry. He was a step off the podium yesterday. I know he's going to have his head down and kind of be gunning for these guys right now. So we'll look and see what the lap times say here in the lap or two.
Well, coming into the summer break, which was, of course, 5 weeks before this weekend at Jersey, Ashton Yates was the coming man for sure. He'd won the last 2 races and been on the podium since he started winning in round 5. So definitely Ashton Yates has been the second half of the season man. Unfortunately, he didn't get the points in the first half of the season. And there you see him in 3rd place. But as you quite rightly point out, the gap was 1.5 seconds, and I think it could be increasing again here as we take a look at 5.16 Mazziato. They cross the line again. Now the gap is 2 seconds. This is a brilliant display of racing and tactics by the front men. 1.9 to be exact. It's pretty cool. Smith, Blackman and Yates and Mazziato will battle it out for 3rd. But if nothing changes in this race, we could see a 2-way fight to finish the season. Perfect.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a good one. You know, I don't know, maybe Jody Barry said, hey, for Brandon, you know, oh yeah, look, some more hand signals. Maybe he's going, you won a championship and you won yesterday. Let me win this one.
Yeah, but it's not Brandon's style, and you know, it's not at all. And of course, he's the champion and he wants to go out with a double win. That's what people remember. That's what, you know, the headlines in the Racing World magazines of this world will be saying.
He wants to seal this deal, absolutely.
9 of 13 gone. Cracking racing from the final race of the year, the KTM RC Cup. All identical 390 machines, all from KTM, all prepared brilliantly. They can just tweak the suspension. Uli is the guy that is there to advise, and he's one of the top guys from KTM.
Yeah, absolutely. Uli's been with HMC and KTM for, well, since I started with Supermoto in 2003. He's been there for my Superbike days. He worked with me since 2012 to 2015, working on my Superbike as the head crew chief. So he's got plenty of experience with these guys, and you know, I think we all enjoy working with them. And, you know, watching these guys kind of make the steps into becoming the next top champion of, you know, MotoAmerica. Hopefully we'll see them in the 600, and then they'll go on to the Superbike and maybe even over to Europe. You know, a lot of these guys have some ambitions to going into Moto3, and maybe the Red Bull Rookies Cup is a good place to start for those guys. I personally think it is.
Well, Jody Barry takes a look over his shoulder. I can tell you, Jody, it's 2.2 seconds, and you don't need to look over your shoulder again before the end of this race, because you two have got this if you keep going. The more you turn it around, though, the less you're going to keep up with Pash, so be careful, my friend. Brandon Pash, meanwhile, has got his head down and his bum up, and he is in the lead right now, and with just a couple of laps to go. Meanwhile, the battle for 3rd place is intriguing. As you can see, we've got a little breakaway group, the 2 of them, and that's Smith and Blackman have kind of pulled away slightly, but
and then we have the Road Racing World guest wildcard rider, Dominic Doyle.
Really impressed.
Yeah, I'm very impressed as well. He comes from South Africa. There they have a RC 390 Cup class, but it's on the production bike.
And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so the suspension on that bike, it's basically a street bike, where these are race-only motorcycles. You can buy them, they're ready to race, ready to take to the track. His version has non-adjustable suspension. It comes with basically a license plate. So he got on the Cup bike and he said, it's really good. I can adjust the suspension, I can brake harder, I can ride this thing for all it's got.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned him, because he just turned 15 last week. That's how young he is. And so he's got a massive future as we go down the front straight again. It's neck and neck between these two. Barry hits the front. Pash, the champion, is behind him. Time running out now between these two. We're going to have a grand finale. Yep. Who dares wins? Will it be the champion, or will Jody Barry take a win? He's already won this season, but he looks back and laments about the fact that he just had a few mistakes that cost him being in contention at the end.
If you look right now, Brandon Potts just did the fastest lap of the race, so he wants to win this thing again.
Yeah.
3 laps to go, and he's still clicking away and doing the fastest laps, and then right away, Jody Barry answers back with another pass. So I think we're going to see a true dogfight right now. We're on for a good one.
These two may have talked, but I can guarantee you the team will not have agreed to any, well, let Jody win, shall we? No, absolutely not. These guys, these mechanics, these engineers have driven a long, long way to be here and to be part of this weekend. They want a double win. They want to show their prowess, and they want to show the world just how hard Access Racing have put their time into Brandon Pash and made him the champion that he is. And the only way to thank them properly is with a win. Jody Barry's a lovely fella, but Brandon Pash needs a win.
This is an interesting corner. So this is turn 10 on the track. Come out, and for most bikes, you know, 600 Superbike, they're going to come out and they're going to brake a little bit going into the final turn 12 right here. For these guys coming out of that corner back there, this is all a straightaway. This is probably, if you link it up, one of the longest straightaways in the circuit. So definitely drafting comes down, and you know, these guys got to figure out what they're going to do for strategy coming on the last lap. We have 2 laps to go, and they're still trading places. I don't know what place I'd rather be in.
Now, yeah, it is a thinking man's game now. These are youngsters, remember, but the brain is whirring right now. If I was a betting man, I'd say that Brandon Pash has probably got the take on it. He's had 6 wins to Barry's 1, and of course is the champion. And Pash, like he did yesterday, will play this one, I'm sure, right to the very end. Now, last time out, he started lining up Jody Barry for the overtake in the last corner.
Well, yesterday, you know, Jody wasn't able to use the draft and the benefit to beat him to the line. So I think Brandon might be sitting right back there for a little bit, seeing how he can kind of work that draft in his benefit as going into the line on the last lap. He might be able to sit there. You know, if Jody couldn't break it on yesterday's race, I'm a little bit worried that you know, if Brandon's sitting there in second, he's got this thing kind of wrapped up. He'll be able to draft him down to the line.
And look at this battle for the podium, because it's being led by Jackson Blackman of South Carolina, the man from Rock Hill, determined to finish his season on a high with a podium. And he bounced onto the circuit this morning, and he said to me, first thing he said, I'm going to get that podium. I'm going for it. And I said, well, go for it, young man, and he is. But what about the decision on who's going to take the win? They come under the bridge again. Last lap to come. At the moment, Barry leads it, but here comes Pash. That's how he won the race yesterday. He looks across and says, mate, do you want me to do it again, or do you want to come and play?
I don't know. If you use that as a comparison, it looked pretty dang even as they crossed the finish line. I don't know which one's going to get it.
Meanwhile, Ashton Yates steps up. The man who's third in the championship and headed to Assen himself for the grand final. He, too, wants a bit of glory in the podium. What a finish we're going to have to this. Pash leads the race. Barry's got to think about this now. He's got a few corners to grab his breath and think how he can tackle you. This is like chess at 130 miles an hour. Brilliant stuff. Who's going to take the next move? Back goes Ashton Yates to third, but Blackman isn't done, and nor is Benjamin Smith either. So we've got 2 distinct battles here on the last lap of the KTM RC Cup here from New Jersey. Chris Fillmore and Jonathan Green bringing you the action of what has been a cracking finale to this year's championship. Time running out, though, for Jody Barry. Just 1 win. Pash has been the star. It'll be his 7th if he takes it, and he'll be in 7th heaven after taking the championship. He said he was going to be relaxed, but he doesn't look that too relaxed today. At the moment, he looks as though he wants a win. You can see he's tensing up. He's looking over his shoulder. Where's Barry? Have I got a bit of a gap? And Chris, you tell me. It looks to me as though we might have this.
No, I think it looks perfect for Barry's position. You don't want to be right on the guy. You want to be able to, you want to be about a bike length back, so you can really use that draft and suck up to him and then get the pass. I think he's in a really good position, but
here we go.
We'll see. Brandon broke loose.
Oh, he lets
It's Jody Barry.
Barry wins his 2nd win of the year. Jody Barry takes the win ahead of the champion Brandon Pash, and Ashton Yates takes 3rd. Smith is 4th, Blackman 5th, as he was yesterday, and Mazziato improved from yesterday to 6th place, but that'll be disappointment for the man they know as Mazziato the 3rd. But he has plenty of time, just as all these youngsters do. And Chris, just a final word as Jody Barry, another one of these up-and-coming stars. Boy, KTM have got this right. I mean, this is exactly what Wayne Rainey and the team from Crave have wanted and craved for, which is young guys racing close, learning racecraft, and being very intelligent about it. And we just saw a perfect example of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you got the time to think about it, right? Like, these guys just, that was unbelievable by Jody Berry. He did the perfect timing to let the draft work in his advantage, and he ended up getting and clinching it, so good for him.
You got to think that Brandon gave him that, though.
I don't think Brandon gave it to him at all. I think Brandon moved over and tried to break a draft, and he thought that, you know, that was my opinion in that. I mean, I don't think he's here, you know, as a charity case.
I know for a fact that he wanted to win this race. He said last night, I want the double because that's how I want to go out.
This may be a quick.
He put on a heck of a display yesterday for a celebration. I don't know what he's going to do today, but
he's decided.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
I think we're going to see a double wheelie here. That's my call.
You reckon?
Let's see what happens here. Two of the best guys in the game at it.
Chris, how pleased are you as being effectively the mentor to these guys? I mean, the camaraderie that they've got, the friendship that they've got, it's genuine, it's real. They have fun off and on the track. I know you went go-karting yesterday. I mean, you can't create that.
We did create it.
Yeah, well, you did. Yeah.
They did. KTM's done a really good job.
There we go. That's what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, if that's not a bunch of guys having fun together, you know, the dads are going to pay for it after when they have to rebuild the motors and clean the rubber off the bike. But it's all for good fun. You know, we are really creating good bonds. These are the strong bonds that are going to last forever. They're relationships that are going to continue on. These guys have raced their heart out all year long. They've done the best they can, and in the end, you know, they can shake their hands and let everyone know that, like, we're buddies. Good job. You know, I think it's a really unbelievable experience that these guys get to do in the KTM RC Cup.
I think it's such an important lesson that kids need to be kids. Yes, they are going to probably be professionals at this sport in years to come, but right now they're living the dream, having fun with each other, winning and doing what every young boy wants to do on a Sunday afternoon, which is race a motorcycle or drive a racing car. They are truly living the dream. My thanks to Chris Fillmore. What a great season. Congratulations to Jody Barry on winning the race. But congratulations also to Brandon Pash as our new national champion of KTM RC Cup. I'm Jonathan Green. We'll take a short break. We'll be back. Greg White after this.
All your ears, Miami. All right, thanks. Sorry for that quick count. Right. 1 minute back. Okay, we're back. Just under a minute. Let me know when you guys have highlights. We're gonna have to fill a little bit. But I think it's okay. I think it's okay to come back and show Park for May, then do a beauty shot with the results, we'll do highlights, and then get down to the because we can show that they're getting there. Just to see the bikes are coming. Where's the count, Rick? All right. 15 seconds back. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Our thanks to Jonathan Green, Chris Fillmore for bringing us to the KTM RC Cup race action as we look at Park Ferme.
Waiting for Pod.
And waiting for the national champion, Brandon Posh, to get down to victory lane before we start the celebrations. Here's a look at the results. Jody Berry, a tenth of a second, a little more than that over Brandon Posh. Ashton Yates back in action where he wants to be. Benjamin Smith, yesterday's podium finisher in 4th, Blackman in 5th, and Mazziato in 6th.
Yeah, I think this being his home race, he hasn't had the weekend that he was expecting coming into it. I think he probably thought he was going to win both of these races and be very competitive in Superstock. He had a little technical malfunction after qualifying in the 600 Superstock class, so yeah, I think he's probably not happy with his weekend so far as Anthony, but he's got plenty of race weekends ahead to improve on that.
So another look down the rest of the board. Markloff, the rider that you saw, one of the riders that you saw at the top of the show. Dave Minster, of course, out of Wisconsin, finishing back there. But right now, we got to head down to victory lane with Christy Lee.
Thank you, Greg. Our third place finisher, Ashton Yates. Ashton, during the broadcast, Chris Fillmore mentioned that you made some gearing changes before race time today and found what you were looking for.
Yeah, totally. Yesterday, I had some gearing that was making me struggle in the last section, and I was hitting the rev limiter halfway through the last tight left-hander, so I couldn't have that. It was destroying my momentum to the straightaway, and I couldn't draft anybody. So today we got some new gearing, and yeah, it definitely helped that race, and I was able to put a gap in that last lap.
Big changes made the improvements they were looking for. Third place finisher, Ashton Yates.
Congratulations to Ashton Yates, of course, son of Aaron Yates, famous AMA Superbike racer over the years and national champion. So trying to get into his father's footsteps. A good look at that HJC helmet, the Spider-Man helmet that he's running. Of course, on pit lane later on, which is Tuesday at 7:30. We're going to have an HJC giveaway for Captain America helmet. More about that if you tune in. But let's head down to victory lane one more time with Christy Lee.
Second place finisher, who is indeed our first place national champion, Brandon Posh, claiming the championship yesterday, going out and putting up a great show today in race number 2. You skipped morning warm-up. Obviously, you're feeling very confident.
Yeah, I skipped warm-up. Didn't want to put any extra time on my tires or wear myself out or anything or possibly crash. So we decided to sit and wait and came out strong in the race. And me and Jody pulled away out front, and I thought I had a good chance because it was just us two. And yeah, it was a really good race. You know, I'm just happy with the whole season and how this race went, so thank you.
It's your second place finisher today, but your national champion for the KTM RC Cup, Brandon Posh.
.178, the margin of victory for Jody Berry over Posh, but still a great result. I'm sure, of course, Posh wanted to double on the weekend and take that #1 plate with him on the double, but he'll have another chance to race his motorcycle, of course, in Holland, coming up later on in the year.
Yeah, absolutely, and you heard him say, I didn't want to put any more extra time on my tires because these guys only get 2 sets a weekend. So, I mean, you know, we talk about his intelligence and how smart he is and how he thinks things through. You know, he sat out the whole morning warm-up. He's got enough confidence in his team and his bike and everything else and to sit that out. So let's get down to Christy with Jody.
Jody Berry, first place finish today. It almost looked like you and Brandon Posh got out early and were almost working together to get that draft and make your own race.
Yeah, we were. We actually, as soon as we saw we had a bit of a gap, we decided to work together, use each other's drafts to break away.
Congrats on the first place finish.
Thank you.
That's some celebration right there. That is a weird scream coming out of a human being.
That is, but hey, they're screaming for Jody. He's got to be stoked. He's not going to make fun of him, and he rode great. He set Brandon up perfectly that last lap. And
learned from yesterday.
Absolutely, yeah. Drafting is just such a, if you can learn when you're young how to draft, when you start going to fast tracks, it can be definitely a big advantage. And he did that. He set him up perfectly. Brandon tried to kind of break the draft as they came on the straightaway, but it was too late because he'd already, on these little bikes, Greg, they stay tucked in through that last corner. So they're wide open through that last corner in 6th gear already. And final championship point standings of the year. Brandon Posh, Anthony Mazziato, Ashton Yates, top 3, all going to Holland. Jody Berry, Alejandro Gutierrez, Cerny Blackman, who put in a great ride there, 5th. I believe that's Jackson's best result of the year. So for him to finish in that, he's going to be hungry for April of next season already.
And the question is, who's going to stay in this class and who's going to go? Who next year, we have the KTM RC Cup, is going to be the shining stars, as this year is all done and dusted for that series. Jody Berry, Brandon Posh, Ashton Yates, of course, Anthony Mazziato, and a couple other names that kept popping up during the course of this season. Let's take a look at some highlights from race number 2, which, of course, was another fantastic race. The closest margin of victory. You know what, Jason? Here's the thing. When you're racing with these riders week in and week out, as we've seen all season long, you know, Jody Berry and Posh, Yates, and Mazziato, they have the measure of each other. Now, it challenges weight them going to the World Cup.
The hardest thing when you get over there to Assen is that you're not going to know any of the guys you're racing against. You're not going to know anybody. As you see Jody Berry have a big bump there coming through the turn 9 area, but shaking his head. That's what's great about these little bikes, is that you get away with a lot because they don't have a ton of horsepower, but you can see it was a big draft fest. These kids all know each other. They've been racing each other all year long. When they go to Assen, it's a very fast track. There's going to be a lot of drafting, but they don't know the kids they're going to be drafting with and against, so it's going to be pretty key that they know who the main players are, know the numbers of who they are, be visual, you know, be visual. See what color leathers and helmets the good guys have so that you can have a little bit of knowledge when you get into the racing situations there in Ashton. And I think this is going to be something that will really play into Brandon's intelligence level again. I think he's just such a smart kid. He's probably got a really good idea. He just swung over to the right there, but there was nothing he could do. Jordy already had that big run on him as they came to the line. And the finish for third was just as close between Yates and Smith and Blackman. They were all very close together.
Yeah, really close. The margin of victory for third place Ashton Yates was .030 and .023 back to Blackman. So that is what the KTM RC Cup race is all about. It's what the series is all about, showcasing young talent. 14 years old, you can be that young to go race in the series, and our national champion will have won it at 15 years old. And Brandon Posh, I mentioned this yesterday on BN Sports Connect.
Oh, there you go.
Posh will be 16 years old before he gets to the racing season next year. So the question is, what's he going to do? And there's the ticket to Holland right there. Presented by KTM's very own Chris Fillmore. Oh, how cool is that?
That's the coolest thing ever, and it's great to see Anthony smiling, because I know he's probably not happy with his result, but good for him. He had a great year. Obviously, so did Ashton. It's going to be fun. Hopefully, Lucky and Aaron are going to get to go over there, and I know Brandon's got some experience racing overseas already, so it's going to be nothing new to him. So congrats to these three guys for getting a great opportunity. What a neat thing that KTM has got put together here for these guys. And our best are going to get to go race the rest of the world's best. And I know we were pretty successful over there last year.
Yep.
Let's hope that we can do it again.
So Brandon Posh in the middle holding up the RC Cup National Champion Trophy, as well as his ticket to go to Holland to race against the world. So congratulations to all these young riders. And remember their names as we continue to see the advancements of their careers. And it started right here on BN Sports, the RC Cup presented by KTM. We'll be back with more from Millville, New Jersey.